Runways, right? What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Amber May Show. Glad you're joining me today. It's going to be a little different, sort of kind of different. I just have a lot of video clips. We're going to start out the show with some news. Then we're going to have an interview. I have a great guest coming on today because tomorrow we're going to be talking about business, small business. And I brought a gentleman on who's advocating for small business. And I think this interview will kind of tie into tomorrow's episode. And so I wanted to bring him on. His name is Keith Gross. He's the legal analyst, a pilot and former assistant state attorney and prosecutor for the state of Florida, served in the Montana National Guard, and he's the author of Dirt Roads to Runways, Defending the American Dream for the Next Generation. And he was raised by a single mother in Florida, Panhandle. Keith Gross is the definition of an American success story. He worked his way through school, served in the National Guard, returned home to Florida after earning his law degree. Yet his humble beginnings and accelerated achievements tell more of the rags to riches story. They are a testament to the power of the American dream, and a dream he believes must be restored and defended. And I agree with that too, because as I go into tomorrow's show and I talk to the man who's advocating for small business, I talk about how achieving the American dream in the United States is falling farther and farther away, where he has a rags to riches story. And my friend yesterday, Clay Clark, he has kind of like a rags to riches story too. But now with the communism creeping in state by state by state, and conglomerates are becoming a monopoly and less competition, it's making the ability to be poor and move up the ranks to possibility being rich is falling through our cracks. In communism, there is no rich except the super rich and the ultra poor, and that's it. And in this country, we're getting closer and closer to looking like communist Cuba, communist Venezuela, with the way that our economic system is developing. So on top of the heaviness, I have some fun shows, some fun videos. I have a lot of videos. Not even sure if I have enough content for the next 2 hours. So we'll see what happens. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. If you've been a longtime viewer but never been a part of our friend circle, come on over to the chat. Say hello. We'd love to welcome you to our friend circle. And, now it's getting chilly out. I just created a hoodie. You can go find it on my website, theambermayshow.com. Go to the merchandise tab and grab yourself a hoodie. They're super comfy and cozy. You're going to love it. So go over to theambermayshow.com, hit the merchandise tab, and then go get your cozy hoodie and help support the program that way. That'd be great. I always add more content. Join me on Telegram at The Amber May Show. I'm on True Social, Frank Social, Amber May, Cloud. No, I'm not on Cloud. Pickaxe.com and X on DJ Amber May on X. Hey, and Tuesdays are premium days, and premium days right around the corner, right there below this video. You can go ahead and click that Rumble Premium button and have premium access to all the Rumble creators for $10 a month and get all of their exclusive content for $10 a month. But if that's too much for you, right there in the Rumble chat, go ahead and click on subscribe to this channel. And for $5 a month, you can have exclusive content from the Amber May Show. Remember, Tuesdays are exclusive, so join me on Tuesdays. I have Behind the Mic with Amber May in real life. You're not going to want to miss it. I have something else I'm doing this weekend. And if you want to find out what it is, you have to be a premium member on Tuesday to join that on Tuesday. Okay. Is that enough of me talking? I think it is. So why don't we get on with the show? Because I'm very excited. I think we're going to have fun today. Again, heaviness in the beginning, but towards the end, we're going to lighten the mood. Oh, one last thing. I want to welcome my media partners to the program today. I'm on the Faith and Freedom Network. Then we're on UG Media out in the UK. We're on Express Radio Station at Live 365. We're on the Vera Radio Network. A big shout out to Doug over there. You can find it at MikeVera.com. VARA, MikeVera.com. Mastiff Media, a big shout out to Yergs. He's listening today, and we're broadcasting over on Yerks Media today, as well as Patriot Radio. We are broadcasting from there on their site as well. So yeah, say hello to my media partners. We welcome all of the media partners, and if there's a media outlet that wants to partner with me, I'd welcome them. Contact me at theambermayshow.com. There's a contact page, and I would love to have that discussion. All right. enough with me blabbering, because you're going to get me blabbering in a little bit longer. So let's get on the show, shall we?
So the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land. Children stolen, lives betrayed, she won't back down, she's lighting the way, a beautiful warrior with faith so bright, holding the line in this endless fight. On the Amber May Show, the truth runs deep, fighting for the lost, for the souls who weep, breaking the silence, making a stand, a voice for the people across this land.
Hey friends, so good to see you today. Thank you for coming over to the Amber May Show, and thank you, Handy News, for the raid. I appreciate you, buddy. Hey, if you're a content creator, go ahead and drop your link in the chat. We'd love to support you as a content creator. And I am looking forward to next Thursday, because Handy News is joining me next Thursday right here on the Amber May Show. So you're not going to want to miss that. And again, I want to say hi to all my media partners. It's pretty awesome. I would love to say hello to the Faith and Freedom Network. Let's see, UG Media. We always broadcast there on Fridays, and that's out in the UK. So this show goes worldwide, and it's not just the UK. I mean, that broadcast out of the UK, but this show goes everywhere. It's so awesome. And Express Radio Station, want to send hi. And I love my buddy over at Mike Farrah. Doggy's amazing. He always looks out for me, and he's a great guy. And Mastiff Media, I met Yerks via chat, and he seems like a really awesome guy. So I appreciate him letting me come on his network, because he doesn't have to, but he's been really kind to me and allowed me on his network. And Patriot Dash Radio, we're broadcasting out there today, so I'm very excited about that. Like I said in the intro, a lot of what we're going to go through. I kind of wanted to make this a little bit more happy. If you were on my show yesterday, you realized I was very down, very upset. I still am not very happy. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm very happy, but I kind of changed the mood a little bit. So the first half is going to be a little bit more intense. Then the second half of the show, we're going to have a little bit more fun. So I'm glad you're here. It means a lot to me when I see your guys' face each and every day. Casa Rumble, I've missed you, girl. I think it's a girl. Maybe it's a guy. Casa Rumble, I'll just say Casa Rumble, I miss you. I haven't seen you in the chat lately. So welcome. If you've been a long-time viewer but never been a part of our friend circle, come on over, say hello. We'd love to welcome you. Salty Mulatto, good to see you again. God Signpost, I've been missing you in the chat. I'm sure you've been busy, because I know I have been busy too. I haven't been able to catch your live shows. So yeah. Anyways, oh yes, for all the Arizona people, the time has changed, but only for the Arizona people. Everyone else, the time's the same, because Arizona doesn't change their times. They don't go forwards or backwards. They stay the same. So now the show airs only for Arizona people, okay? The show airs Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday, the show airs at noon. So if you live in Arizona, that's the time. Noon, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 p.m. Everyone else, it's the same. So good to see everyone. Okay, so, yesterday we kind of talked about the filibuster, and I hope I didn't give you guys the impression that, like, I was all for 100% killing the filibuster. I was very emotional yesterday, and I was just thinking, I was weighing the options, because if you do this is like the last protection for the people that are in the minority in the Senate, okay? And that's what makes us different than any other form of government, because we live in a republic, and the republic still gives what is it called? Representation to the minority. Okay. So it's not the democracy that they want to shove down our throat, because they want us to go to a democracy, which means the 51% will always outrule the 49%. So there's a safety mechanism in the Senate. Right now it's freaking on my last nerve, right? But I'm sure it's like that too when the Democrats are in charge. But if we got rid of that filibuster, then when they go into power next time, we have no protection when we're in the minority as conservatives. And so on the Daily Caller, there's a report out about John Thune, because Donald Trump, he wants to move his agenda forward, and I get it, because we only have so many months, and they're eating up every week. We're now over a month worth of the shutdown. That means the America First agenda has been behind a month, not being able to get the America First agenda through. And that's a problem, because all of us in this chat, and maybe some people listening, still watch my show, and I appreciate them, even if we don't have the same viewpoints. I'm glad you'd be willing to listen to a show like mine. I appreciate that. I voted for this. I voted for Donald Trump because he was the first president in my lifetime that cared about me as an American person. Now, if you watch mainstream media, they're going to paint him as this evil fascist Nazi dictator. But when you look at the policies, he's not like that. So here we go to the Daily Caller, and it says John Thune is defying Trump on the filibuster. Here's his explanation. Senate Majority Leader John Thune is on a collision course with President Donald Trump over nixing a longstanding legislative tool to end the 36-day government shutdown. Thune, who pledged to defy the filibuster on day one of his leadership tenure, reiterated on Wednesday that Republicans would not scrap the Senate 60-vote threshold to end the shutdown. And here's the thing. Here is the talking point that everyone, even the elected officials on the Democrat side, they say this too, and they know this is true. They know, especially the senators, they know they have the 60 vote that is necessary for any legislation to go forward, but especially mainstream media and anyone on these big social media platforms, they're going to be telling you, well, the Republicans are in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency, so surely it's their fault. Well, the House did what they should have done, and they passed the clean CR. They moved it over to the Senate. That's how bill becomes law, right? It starts in one house, goes to the next, and then winds up on the president's desk. But in the Senate, you have to have that 60-vote majority, and no one in mainstream media that I've heard of, I mean, maybe you guys have heard it, I haven't heard it yet, talking about this 60-vote majority that is required in order to pass legislation in the Senate on major things. Like I'm sure like on the America First stuff, with the minor majority, we can get things through. But when major stuff happens, they have to have that 60 votes. And here's the thing. This clean CR was passed under the Biden administration several months back, where all the Democrats were involved. And we're going to get into a reason why the senators are not choosing to open the government. Now, will they open it soon? I don't know. I kind of hope so, because I met with Border Patrol at NASCAR. They're not getting paid right now. How long does this go before we start seeing people from the military walk off? Border Patrol walk off. Now, I don't know how it works in the military, but I imagine if you're not getting paid, how can they really hold you? Maybe they can. I don't know. I've never served in the military, but maybe the veterans in this chat can tell me. If you're not getting paid for several months in a row, can you just walk off? I mean, you might face consequences, but how are you supposed to be in the military if you're not getting paid? Because your whole job is to protect the American people. And if you're not getting paid, you still have bills to pay, right? Well, Border Patrol too. So if this continues, are we going to start seeing our law enforcement walk off the job because they can't afford to live? I'm so excited that there's legislation on the Hill that is going to say, hey, if we shut down, then we don't get paid. Because what is the incentive? This is a good move by the Republicans. What incentive is there for either side to open the government? If they're getting a paycheck, what's the incentive for them to open the government? There's no incentive. So if their paychecks stop, just like the other members of the federal government, then the incentive is, well, there's, according to even my senator, one of my senators, Robin Gallego, he said, well, I still have bills to pay. He was quoted saying that. Well, I still have bills to pay. Yeah, so does your staff. So does Border Patrol. So does the military. So does name the government entity, right? So do they. And especially my friend May Renee, she has bills to pay and she's not getting paid, right? So I think that was a smart move to pass legislation. Now, will the money-hungry people on the Hill pass that? I don't know. I hope they will, because stand in solidarity with the people like the FBI and the Border Patrol and name your federal agency. Stand in solidarity with them and your staff. How long until your staff starts walking off the job because they don't have a paycheck? So the 60-vote threshold to end the shutdown, it's one of those things. If you hit the nuclear option, what is the repercussions of that? In the short term, do we win? Possibly. What happens in the long term? That's the thing. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility. So the majority leader argued that allowing most legislation to pass at a simple majority threshold will help Democrats enact a far-left agenda the next time they wield power in Washington. And he also added that Republicans simply do not have votes to scrap the filibuster. So I guess we're all protected there for now. again, we live in a republic, not a democracy. And a republic means that the minority still gets a say in how our government runs. Okay, so I think you guys know this by now, but when I was on the Reawaken tour, there was a stop in Las Vegas. I got to interview Tina Peters. It's on my channel here on Rumble. So if you'd like to go see that interview, she was a lovely lady, very lovely lady, and she was facing, she knew she had a looming court case ahead of her where she uncovered election interference while she was elected official running elections. She caught it, and because she caught it, now she's in prison. Well, here's a video that talks about the Deputy Attorney General's request that Tina Peters be transferred from Colorado State Prison to Federal Bureau of Prisons facility. So here we go with Just the News, John Solomon talking about that. Here we go.
I want to turn to something we're going to break right here, right now. I just got this before I came on air. The team will put it on air right now. Remember Tina Peters? She was the election clerk in Colorado that was sent to prison and convicted for her efforts to raise questions about election issues during the 2020 election in that state. Well, today, Just the News obtained this letter showing that the Deputy Attorney General in the federal government is working, Todd Blanche, is asked the Bureau of Prisons to find any way they can legally to move Tina Peters out of Colorado State Prison and into federal prison. Now, that could signal several things. One, they're worried about her safety. Two, that she might become a witness in some future federal investigation. Therefore, having her in federal custody would be a part. We don't know the reason for this request, but we have confirmed that this request has occurred. Breaking news. The story is going to be up on justthenews.com. You got it first because you watch us here.
Very cool. I'm happy for her because she didn't do anything wrong. She found out about, it was her constituents that brought it to her because she knew what she did. She ran her election by law, right? And I think even still, I met some of the people that run our elections here in Maricopa County, and I think some of them are the same way. They run their, elections by law, but that doesn't mean there's people on the other side or there's people somewhere in the background that have done things the wrong way and you just don't realize it yet. And that's what kind of happened to Tina Peters. She ran her elections the right way, but when she dug into it and the trusted bill, she realized that there was a lot of shenanigans. And when she opened her mouth, you can't have that because what? We have a free and fair election system here in the United States, right? And in a Democrat stronghold, you can't have anything like that. You can't say that as an elected official that there's election fraud, even though she found it. So we have to shut her up and throw her in prison. Yeah. And that's what happened to her. No real good due process for her. So I hope they'll be able to transfer her. He can't really pardon her because so far she's been convicted on a state crime. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I really don't know. But some good news on the Capitol Hill. Our hill just looks like a retirement community, worse than my grandma's memory care facility. They're all a bunch of old people that basically need walkers, but in front of the TV, they probably ditch the walkers. I bet if you go to the hill, you're going to see next to their seats or way in the back somewhere, just nothing but walkers, because all we have is retired old people, like really old people. I'm not tired about you just retired, you're in your 50s and 60s. I'm talking about really old people like Nancy Pelosi. So Breitbart News is reporting that Nancy Pelosi officially announced her retirement. Finally, thank the Lord. Goodbye, Nancy. You've served for God knows how long. I thought you were going to die on the Hill. Thank God you can finally go back home and ruin San Francisco for everybody there. I'm sorry if you live in San Francisco. So former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has officially announced her retirement from the U.S. House of Representatives. That expected announcement came on Thursday morning when she released a statement confirming she will not seek another term after nearly 40 years in office. So what's going to happen to her investment portfolio since she won't have, she probably still has friends on the Hill because they're still in the retirement community called Congress. So they probably will give her insider trade secrets so she can still keep her retirement going. Does anyone feel sad for this lady? No. You manage with all your insider knowledge on what was going to pass, what wasn't going to pass, that you made yourself extremely wealthy. So no one really feels sorry for you. And I'm glad to see her goodbye. Good riddance. Bye-bye. See you later. We don't want to have you in office anymore. Okay, what am I doing? Here, let's see. Stop sharing that. Okay. So GOP can fully embrace MAGA or face more Tuesday night election beatings. Now, in my chat yesterday, I think that you guys maybe misunderstood me, right? Or maybe you're not taking it super serious. I think what happened yesterday was a big warning sign for us. You know how hard the Republican Party, the GOP, the conservatives had to work to take over the House, the Senate, and the presidency? It was extremely hard. Charlie Kirk was working his butt off. Scott Presler was working his butt off. And we have the midterms, and historically in the midterms, it becomes a lame duck session. So that's what's scary about why President Trump wants to end the filibuster, because we've already lost a month where we could be going through our agenda and getting bills passed. But we've already lost a month. And in the midterms, if we end up flipping, we'll have a lame duck session, nothing we want passed. We're going to lose him as president in two years after that. He can only be president this last term. And what if JD Vance doesn't make vice president? What if he loses? What's going to happen next? If we have, like, let's say Gavin Newsom, kiss this country goodbye and kiss America first goodbye. Because he's going to turn this country just like he did with California, turning into a communist nation where everything is super expensive. We're going to get into that a little bit later, where we're going to have elected officials talking about how, hey, well, maybe, is it on the show? I don't know. Maybe I know Handy News played it, and I thought I have this on my show. I'm not exactly sure. I show prepped a while ago. But basically, they're saying, oh, we won the election because we ran on affordability. We ran on this, and we ran on lowering the rent prices. And look at the United States as a whole. The most expensive states to live in are Democrat-run states. And for whatever reason, people aren't learning the lesson that when they elect Democrats into office, their cost of living skyrockets. Democrats love to tax. We have a president that came in and he used another mechanism that the presidents before him stopped using. And it was not fair trading. We did not tariff anybody, and they tariffed all of our goods and services. So it hurt manufacturing quite a bit because it made our stuff so expensive that no one wanted to really buy our things. With the tariff, it made it an easier process. If you're going to tariff us, well, then we're going to tariff your products and services. So now the price is kind of evened out a little bit, and it's helping the manufacturing here. He brought in so much revenue without raising a single tax so far. And with the big, beautiful bill, they've tried to lower some of the taxes, but they need to do more when they get into session again, because that wasn't enough what they did on the big, beautiful bill. It's kind of temporary. I want them to see totally abolish income tax on Social Security recipients, especially. And if they want to abolish income tax altogether, I'm all for it. So Breitbart News is saying there is no silver lining in what happened Tuesday night. Republicans lost everywhere, and not by the expected small margins. In Virginia, Democrats took back the governorship by nearly 15 points. In New Jersey, which the GOP hoped would become the next Pennsylvania, the Democrat won the gubernatorial race by 13 points. And Gavin Newsom came out of his redistricting plan with 63 to 36% victory. I know it's being contested right now, that Prop 50. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully, we'll keep you posted on what the outcome is on that legal lawsuit that's going on with Prop 50. But he also came out with the political wins at his back for the 2028 presidential campaign. And then Virginia Republicans got killed in their own House of Delegates race. A 51 to 48 3-seat deficit will become 20 to 30-seat deficit, depending on the final numbers. So there's no good news anywhere. And I think most of my chat yesterday was saying, well, this has nothing to do with the midterms. It's not an indication. Yes, it is. It's a huge indication of the midterms. Trust me, I'm someone that works in campaigns. I'm part of the volunteer organizations. You know, that's why candidates come to us, the precinct committeemen and state committeemen, because we campaign and we're free. We're a volunteer organization. We run the GOP here in the state and in the county, and people running for office use us and depend on us to help them win elections. So yeah, you know, a lot of work goes into elections. That's why I need you to get involved locally and become a precinct committeeman, a state committeeman. And the easiest way to find out about that is going to precinctstrategy.com. And if you're retired, you have the best spot in life right now. We need you as people that are in the working class, as people that are raising kids right now. It is so hard for me to carve out time, but yeah, I try to, because my county and my city and my state means something to me. Local action creates national impact. And we need the retired people that have been raising their kids that aren't working anymore to get out and help us win the midterms. And the easiest way to do that is becoming a state or precinct committeeman. So go to theprecinctstrategy.com and join up today. Find out how you can be involved in your local precinct and be a part of the Republican Party. And we would welcome you because we need all the help we can get. And then you get to know your neighbors a little bit, and you'll be around like-minded people. You're going to I am very fortunate. Our LD, our legislative district, meets every month. I know in the state of Arizona, in Maricopa County especially, not all LDs do, but I know most of the LDs in Maricopa County meet frequently, and it's so fun to get together every month, at least for my LD. And some, like maybe it's every quarter or every couple of months. But in Maricopa County in general, our LDs, our legislative districts are meeting on a regular basis, and you get to have ideas, you get to share things, you get to learn stuff. I have learned so much about what's happening local by being involved as a state and precinct committeeman. So do what I do. I'm not just saying stuff and not walking the walk. I'm actually doing the walk. I go down to the Capitol. I'm part of writing legislation. Now, you don't have to do that as a precinct or state committeeman, but if you have the time and there's something so burdensome on your heart, you can go do that because you're going to be meeting local officials. You're going to be meeting people at the state legislature. You're going to get to know them face to face so that when they screw up, you can call and be like, dude, what did you do that for? Or when they do something great, you call them up and say, way to go. I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad you represent my state. I'm so glad you represent my LD. It's very powerful. It's a great place to be. Now, do we write legislation? No, but we can help write legislation with a sponsor from our state legislature. So got to get involved. And there's a ascendancy of Zoran Mandami as New York City's Marxist mayor. This is where I'm having my friend come on, Keith Gross. He's going to be talking about the American dream. And tomorrow, I hope you tune in because I have a gentleman coming on that's going to be talking about strengthening the small business in the United States. And I'm going to learn something from him. I know, because he is in the fight. There's a reason why he's in the fight to defend small business. If small business was doing so great in the United States of America, he wouldn't need to do a job and he wouldn't need to fight for small business. But there's a reason that he is involved in helping small business thrive. Small business was the backbone of the United States of America for decades. And over time, the wealth transfer has taken over. I've told you about the monopoly systems, which I always like to use the hotel analogy, right? We used to have motels, middle-sized hotels, and the large resorts. And the large resorts have taken over the motels, the middle hotels. So you have 5 companies that run the whole thing. Cell phones, you have 3 major networks, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. That's why you need to get to Patriot Mobile. It's the only Christian conservative cell phone carrier out there. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. And when you use my name, Amber, you're going to get a free month of service. That's why you need to make the switch and call 972-PATRIOT. Let them know Amber sent you, get your free month of service, or go into patriotmobile.com/Amber, because that's how we get back our wealth transfer. That's why I'm heated now. I'm taking off my hoodie. I'm heated, and I'm going to get on my interview, and I'm going to be a little bit heated because what my gentleman, my friend that's coming on my show, Keith, he went from rags to riches. You heard my story, or my friend's story yesterday, Clay Clark, rags to riches. He grew up poor, and now he's running businesses. He's doing well for himself. But that's coming to an end because the communism is taking over. Yes, it's in New York right now, but it's spreading. A bad apple ruins a whole bunch. It's spreading across the United States. I had men from China who escaped communism in China, moved to California. They told me out of their own mouth, California has fallen into communism. And handy news, if you paid attention to his show, he was talking about the DSA. DSA has creeped into the Democrat Party, changing the Democrat Party into a communist party. So communism is taking over. It's in our school systems. It's controlled the mainstream media. It's crept into the big tech. So everywhere everyone goes, they're going to hear the same message that America is horrible. We're a capitalistic society, and we want more government, more government, more government, more government. You have more government, you have less rights. We want government so small that we have so much freedom, but the more government you have, the less freedom you have. They can tell you what to do, where to go, how to breathe, how to sneeze, what to eat. Cuba example. I played a video recently about Cuba and what their ration of food looks like. The government gives them a ration of food because all they make is $20 a month. Communism leads to poverty, which is taking away the ability to have the capital the American dream of, if you grew up poor, you could be like my friend Keith Gross and have a different type of lifestyle, or be like my friend Clay Clark, grow up poor but be well-to-do. But that's all going to change as communism kicks into the nation. But Keith Gross is going to come on the show, and he's going to provide hope because he wrote a great book. And let's welcome Keith to the program. Hi, Keith. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you, Keith.
It's great to be with you.
So, Keith, I will have to ask you, I wonder if we're related. My husband's family's name is Gross. Are you related to a Gary or Ed Gross?
I don't think so.
Oh, darn. I was hoping we were going to have a family reunion that we never met, and we were going to be long lost cousins through marriage. And then I was going to do this, but I guess I can't. It's not a name I heard all the time. And so it's, again, my husband's side of the family has the Gross name. So welcome to the program. So glad to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be with you this day. We've got a lot to talk about.
We do. We have a lot to talk about. I think it's fascinating that you are Assistant Attorney General in Florida, and thank you for your service as being in the Montana Guard. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. I would love to learn about your rags to riches story, because I think that idea of capitalism and being able to, if you just worked hard enough, you can make your goals, that is on the line right now. And we're seeing that as communism creeps into the country. And I know that you're alerting people. You wrote a great book. We'll show it. Let me show this book, and I hope people will grab it. And I'd love to learn about your story. How did you start out poor and get to where you are today? Your book's called Dirt Roads to Runway, Defending the American Dream for the Next Generation. Tell us about your rags to riches story without giving it away too much to where people won't read the book. But I think this is an important topic.
Yeah. So, I grew up in rural North Florida, and I was raised by a family that didn't have a lot, but what they did have is common sense. And they spent a lot of time, raising my sister and I, and they imparted much of that common sense, small town wisdom. And the more I look at how America operates today, the more it becomes clear that what we need is more small town wisdom applied at the national level. Because when we see things like the socialist shift that we just saw in New York City, this is motivated largely by two things. It's by young people who feel like they can't afford the American dream anymore. And largely they're correct. The American dream is becoming unavailable to too many people. We've got to get that fixed. But the other thing is, we saw a massive number of foreign-born people voting, and that just shifted the way we view things.
Right.
When we think about legal immigration, it was always supposed to be a very small number of people admitted to our nation, a select group that were going to join the fabric of American society, assimilate to our values. And, that's how our nation's grown over the years. But what's happened in recent years is a massive influx. People have come in so fast that they're not assimilating anymore. And so they're replacing American values with the broken third world paradigms that they just escaped from. And they don't seem to understand how nonsensical that is. And then you see the young people who are saying, well, now the average age to buy a house is 40 years old. Yeah. Oddly enough, what they actually need are Donald Trump's policies, because Donald Trump is the first president in decades that's trying to rebalance the foreign trade that's ruined the ability for the middle class to make a real wage. He's the one that's trying to push back against H-1B visas, which have been stealing American jobs. He's the one pushing back against so many things that have made government spending rise, that caused the massive inflation, that devalue our currency and drive the prices of houses up faster than wages have gone up. And instead, what we see are these people who come out, they're charlatans, they're communists, and they say, well, just tax the rich, make them pay their fair share. The wealthiest 10% of New Yorkers already pay 70% of the bill. If their fair share was going to be paid, maybe the 10% of people should be paying 10% of the bill. They're already paying 70%. The issue isn't that someone else has more, and it's not that the rich are getting richer, because I'll tell you what, the poor are getting richer too, just not at the same rate that housing prices and other expenses are increasing. The issue is wages. Things go up. That's normal. That's inflation. They go up a heck of a lot faster when government spends trillions of dollars like they did in the Inflation Reduction Act or during COVID and so forth. So we've got to get a handle on government.
Wow, that was so well said. Are you running for office again by any means? I mean, because that was such a great motivational speech. I'm like, I'm voting for you, Keith.
Oh, thank you, Amber. I'm not running for anything right now, but I can't imagine I'm going to be able to sit silent on the sidelines in 2026 while these people make terrible policy decisions and while we see people in Congress keep doing the same things that have broken our nation. And while we keep seeing people who are never going to live with the consequences of the things they're voting for,
Right.
putting the bill on people like me and my kids and the grandkids that I don't even have yet. So we've got to get back to putting Americans in charge of policy making, not a bunch of politicians and PACs in DC.
There, you talked about a shift that happened, especially with immigrants, and I'm a daughter of an immigrant, and I understand what you're saying 100%. There was a time when people moved to the United States and they totally assimilated. They didn't speak their language out in public. They wanted to learn English. They wanted to be Americans. My father wanted to be American. He could still speak his language and stuff, and they would do it in the house, but they wanted to be American. That's why they came to the United States. But in the 90s, there seemed to be a shift. And I started noticing as a child in the 90s at school, they were talking about tapestry of culture. And in this particular class that I hated going to, they wanted white people to hate who they are as white. I can't change that. I'm born this way. That's the way God created me, because clearly I'm racist just because of my skin color. Doesn't matter what I really believe, but on the outside, I'm white. And then they would talk about diversity and how we need to embrace everyone's differences. If you embrace everyone's differences, then you create strife and you create division. We should be uniting about what things we have in common. What do we have in common? Okay, maybe our colors of our skin is the same, but maybe the content of our character are, and what do we value? Do we value liberty? Do we value little government? Do we value big government? What is our values and then go around what we unite on, not we divide. And then when it comes to immigrants, they were saying, cultural, embrace your culture. And I'm not saying don't embrace your culture. Again, I'm someone who is a daughter of an immigrant, but when you embrace your culture that you came from up against the culture of the American culture, and that supersedes it, then we have division, and then it doesn't work out. And then we see things like Mandami, who in his speech, he talked about every single person in another country, right? He didn't talk about them. And I'm tired of the hyphenate. The hyphen started in the 90s. Oh, you're a Chinese American. You're a Mexican American. You're this. Why can't we just be American? Right?
That's the idea, that anybody can come here and become an American, but that requires an active effort to assimilate and adopt American values. If you come to our nation and you keep the values of the country you left, why did you come here at all? If you love that country, why not just stay there? If that country isn't working well, perhaps you should put your thinking cap on and realize that perhaps the way you do things over there is why that country isn't working well. Because you could replace the population and policies of the people in Iowa and put them in Somalia, and take all the people out of Somalia and put them in Iowa. And I think you'd be pretty surprised to find that now Iowa doesn't work and Somalia does. It's about policies. We're all given a certain piece of dirt in this world, and what you do with it is everything. And it's about decisions. So when you come to this country, you need to decide to join this country and adopt and embrace its values. And that's exactly the opposite of what we've seen recently in New York City and in Minneapolis. They barely got by with keeping their incumbent mayor, but they very nearly had a Somalian mayor who routinely spoke in a Somali language, embraced Somali as his home openly, and pretty much was resentful of American values. So the people that are welcoming foreign people in, paying the bills, adopting all of these costs at a government level, they're not getting thank you notes. They're getting overthrown at the ballot box. Folks need to wake up. We can't afford this much immigration, legal or illegal. We need fewer immigrants in this country for a while, because we've got to get back to embracing American values. That includes capitalism and freedom. Once freedom's gone here, it's gone everywhere.
That's right.
So we need to be more protective of that than I've seen in the last couple of decades.
So let's talk about the SNAP for a minute, because you grew up poor, okay? And I don't know if your family used food stamps or not. And, I don't mind people needing it for a while, just to get things going until they can get the better job or get the education. And then, and then eventually, it was never meant to be a forever program. But as things kept progressing in the United States, and starting with FDR, with the Social Security, they start creeping in social ideas into the American mindset. And one of these being social benefits, i.e. SNAP. So you went from poor. I'd like to know a little bit about your story about how did you become an assistant attorney general if you grew up poor? I mean, people on SNAP, there's some that get off of it and make something of yourself, but I've seen people on generations on government handout and they don't want to get off. They rather stay in this poverty mindset, stay on the government handout, and then teach the next generation how to do the same. How is your story different from that?
Well, I did eventually become an assistant state attorney in Florida, which is just what they call line prosecutors. So state attorneys are the elected official for each judicial district, and then everyone that actually prosecutes in court is an assistant state attorney. I did that job briefly to help them out of a COVID backlog, basically. I'm typically an attorney I have a firm, a gross law group, and also handle a lot of things for our own companies, which I've done over the years. I grew up in a family that didn't have anything, went on to found several companies, eventually partnered in a fledgling service business, a truck washing firm back in 2009, and spent the next 10 years or so building that into the second largest truck washing company in the country. We franchised it along the way and had hundreds of locations, sold it off to a private equity firm in 2018. At that point, I was further ahead in life than I ever thought I would be, and thought, it's time to retire. But I was 35, and you can't actually retire at 35 without going mad. So I went back to work and we built another franchise system. This time it was a home insulation company that grew into one of the largest insulation companies in the nation over just a handful of years, about 3.5 years. We had over 400 locations across the country and sold that to private equity back in 2023. These days, I run a law firm and a small venture capital firm where we focus on taking positions in franchise companies and a handful of other sectors. But it's been an interesting ride, to say the least. When I was a young kid, my grandparents, they raised cattle and had a small farm up here in North Florida. And for those of you that don't know, North Florida is nothing like what most people think of when they think of Florida. They think of like Miami and palm trees. No, North Florida has more cows than people. So up there, they were running a very small farm and they were dirt poor, with the truest definition of that. And so I talk about that in the book a little bit, and how the current EBT cards that people get are a world different than what my grandparents got. My grandparents, when you open their cabinet, literally had silver cans that had stenciled letters that said U.S. pork. And they had big bags of rice that just said U.S. rice. And so during that period, even when I was a child, our government was far more logical about the way they handled food benefits. It was supplemental. And even now they call it supplemental nutrition assistance program, but it's not supplemental anymore. It covers these people's bills and it's a credit card in their hand. So when my grandparents used it, we did it the smart way. The government would buy surplus products from farmers. If you've got too many cows or too many head of whatever, they would buy it. If you got too much rice production, too many pigs, the government would buy it. And that kept prices stable. It made it so that farmers could run profitable operations. And it also did a really important thing. It gave the government a ton of food that it could pay people to process and store. So we had these massive surplus storage facilities with food. If our nation had gone to war, these were Cold War times, if our nation had gone to war, we would have had a ton of food on hand to feed our troops or our people or whatever we needed to do. But the cool thing about that is, as they would put away the new food, they would cycle out the food that had already been in storage for the appropriate amount of time, and they would hand that out as benefits. So we got multiple benefits out of doing it that way. We got stable farm prices, we got emergency food storage, and rather than giving people a credit card that did not encourage them to go and work for a living, they got food. They weren't going to starve to death, but if you wanted to choose what you were eating, you got to go out and get a job.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing what some people buy at the grocery store, because I see the card. It's all junk food. There's nothing. I have a video. Maybe I should play it since you're on and we're talking about this. I'm like, look at what this lady is buying. And then she's kind of complaining about it. And she didn't have to pay for this. So let's play this video. And I'd love for you to comment on this video. Here we go.
All the other countries that wonder and say that Americans are just fat and lazy and they don't do anything to better themselves. This is what $115 gets you. Let me show you. We were able to get some Ritz crackers, one thing of cereal, some ramen, more ramen, tuna, bag of potatoes, a few avocados, some snacks, desserts, 2 bags of chips, ice creams, pizza rolls, some sausage biscuits, one thing of Dr. Pepper. All of this for $115. We're not making it. This is going to feed my kids for less than a week. And this doesn't include any dinners. There are no dinners here. This is lunch and snacks. I don't know how people are making it. It's hard out there. All the other
So what do you think about that video?
Well, 2 things. First of all, we're going to be stuck with the health costs of all that junk food because there's nothing healthy about what she had on her counter. I wouldn't eat that stuff. So we need to get back to eating reasonable food, because if we're going to give people access to government paid food, the least we can do is not give them things that are going to clog their arteries, give them diabetes, and run up our medical bills, because that's the next chapter in the story. So, I saw this firsthand. When I was a kid, I worked at a gas station out in rural North Florida, and it wasn't just a gas station. I mean, they had a meat department, they had a deli, out there, it's sort of an everything store. Yes, they sell gas, but also everything else. So I worked as a cashier there when I was young. When I was in middle school, I would go there and work as a cashier in the afternoons. And my family didn't have a lot then either. And I would see people come up to the counter and they would have food stamps at the time, physical, like paper. And they would pile up the counter with steaks and all these things and candy and junk food. And, my family would buy ground beef for 99 cents a pound. And these people were buying the New York strip for several times that. And I just remember thinking, wow, they don't care how much this costs, but I do. My family cares how much this costs. And oddly enough, my family was the one going to work and paying the taxes that covered these people. So after it was all done and they bought their steaks that my family couldn't afford, they'd break out cash for the carton of cigarettes and the case of beer they wanted. They had money for what they wanted because they didn't have to pay for what they needed. And we've got to get back to the idea of individual responsibility if we want to move the country forward.
That's it, 100%. That's what we were grounded on. That's that you were responsible for creating your own wealth, your own life, and consequences are, if you did right and make good decisions, then you got rewarded, and if you didn't, then you face the consequences of your choices. But now we haven't given people consequences. Oh, go ahead. Here's some money for you. Go get some. And I'm not against, again, people who really need help. But the thing is, it's gotten so abused and so crazy that I think we need to relook at this whole issue. Maybe this is a good time to do so, since the government's not really open. They could start thinking about legislation about how can we improve this system to help when we need to help, but not make it a forever thing. Because you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm trying to go to the store, and with the money that I have, I'm trying to make wise choices. What she did there was not wise. I didn't see any ground beef, round steak, or anything that could have been like protein on the cheaper side, but protein to make dinners. I'm not a big starch kind of person, but okay, potatoes, a bag of potatoes could go a long way, and you have, your steak, or cans of beans with rice that could go a long way, and that's a protein, and you can have a couple meals there, and then you can have lunch meat, something cheap for lunch. Instead, she bought like all this junk food, and then she's complaining she doesn't have stuff for dinner. Well, you lady did not make good choices, so don't cry to me, because what you did with your $115 is blow it on stuff that you shouldn't be eating anyways. Focus on, okay, you need some eggs, you need some lunch meat, you need some round steak, you need some hamburger meat, maybe some rice and potatoes. Okay, for $115, you could get that, and it may be a 2 gallons of milk, and there you go. Instead, you decide to buy 2 things of ice cream, a soda, chips, donuts. Come on. I mean, I don't feel sorry for you. Sorry, I just don't. But that's what we're seeing with people with EBTs, or they go sell it. I mean, I know there's some people out there that legitimately do what they can with it, but I've seen it in the grocery store time and time again, where I'm like, the whole thing is nothing but junk food. And then it's a talking point for the Democrats. Oh, the Republicans are starving everybody. If you just voted yes on a clean CR that you voted yes on a few months ago with Joe Biden, and we can have this conversation and we could fill those SNAP benefits. But it's just a talking point. I mean, you've worked in government. How frustrating is that for you working in government and dealing with these talking points when we know the truth? If they just went back to the Senate and voted yes, we could have all these discussions. People would get things funded. But then I don't know, politics, the fact that you were in politics at all, like, granted you were a prosecutor, but still, it's like in government, it frustrates me. Watching this whole show, it's so frustrating. How do you do it?
I think we should all be frustrated. I mean, the number of people that have gone on benefits has nearly doubled since Biden was in office. And you look at the number of illegal aliens that have come in, you look at the cost of everything. It's a little hard not to be upset with Congress when you realize that they thought a continuing resolution, a clean CR, as they call it, they thought that was a win for Republicans. I mean, why do we even have a majority if a win is extending the Biden budget? Why can't they pass a proper budget that properly identifies our recently elected president's priorities? Why are we talking about extending the Biden budget at all?
No, I agree.
But even that wasn't enough for the Democrats. They wanted it $1.5 trillion more. So no one up there is having a real conversation about the fact that we've got to cut spending. Our budget is out of hand. We're spending trillions of dollars a year more than we take in, and it's just not sustainable. So when we see young people upset that they can't afford a house, the real issue is government spending. But oddly enough, they keep thinking it's a good idea to spend all this money on a government level without connecting the dots that government spending drives inflation. Inflation makes everything you want to buy more expensive. You got to cut government. That's how you afford a house.
It's true. You know, you make a lot of sense, man. If you run for office, let me know, because I want to support you 100% from Arizona, because you have common sense that you're just saying right here on the show. Common sense, nothing crazy, and maybe that's why you've been so good in business. You use common sense mindset. But let's talk about business for a second. The way things are going, more government, more government, more government. If we continue down this path of more government and communism, more, how is that going to affect you as an entrepreneur? Are you going to, will the future generation be able to see the successes that you saw as a young person, and even today with the businesses that you're growing?
I mean, it's affecting anyone in business already. It affects us. When we make a venture capital investment decision, we avoid investing in certain areas where we think we might incur negative regulatory or tax implications. So that's already a thing. You know, when we look at real estate investment, we already avoid places where we think it's likely to have a rent control issue. Because why would you spend the money building something if the government's later going to tie your hands and tell you can't charge what it costs to recover an investment and turn a profit? And so ultimately across the country, we're going to see these sorts of decisions made. We're going to see people say, you know, it's not actually worth the trouble and risk to go and risk all this money and make this investment if I don't have a high probability of a return. You know, everybody needs to invest in places they can turn a profit. And when places like New York and California increase the regulatory burden the way they have, it makes it impractical to invest there as compared with other asset classes. And that's what people are going to say. They're just going to say, well, I'm just going to invest in something different or somewhere else. And ultimately, that's really bad for the people that need those jobs. They need the jobs in construction, or they need the housing units to be built so they have a place to live. Those are the people that are going to suffer, not the people who have, you know, adequate funds that their primary job is investing those funds now. Those people are going to be fine. They're just going to invest somewhere else. So if we want to have a real conversation about how government kills jobs, just look at California and New York, because we're about to see it play out.
Good answer. Because I was talking the other day about this. I saw an article that said a whole bunch of people were going to move. Like, we hear that all the time, right? So it could just be talk, right? But there was a whole bunch of conservatives that were going to just leave New York. And let's say they own property. If they're all leaving, who's going to want to go buy property there? So what happens then? Are they going to like lose out on their property because no one's going to want to buy? Are they going to have to give it back to the bank? Are people that own rental properties, and there's going to be a rent control issues? Are there going to be homelessness that occurs because, you know, as we talked about, things go up, things get more expensive with inflation, And if the property owner can't keep up with the cost of insurance, the cost of taxes, cost of fixing the building, then are we going to see more homeless? What do you foresee as if we keep doing this across, and like one bad apple ruins a whole bunch? That's what I'm fearful of. I'm hoping that we're going to see New York and California and be like, oh, nope, we're done. We're not going to go that path. We're going to make a course correction. But let's say we don't. What do you foresee if we don't get that course correction?
Well, I do think that's a reasonable concern, because the scariest thing about communist policies is that they can appear to work for a while. It takes a while to run out of other people's money. And only then do people really see the ugly side of communism, where now that we don't have anyone's money to confiscate, we have to force people to do things. That's when it gets ugly, and it takes a while. So I'm a little concerned that people might incorrectly assume that communist policies are working in the initial short period in New York. We'll see. I mean, to your question about the nearly 1 million people, I think, that have said they were going to leave if Mamdani won, I doubt it. How are they going to leave? If that many people listed their homes for sale, it would crash the market, and they probably couldn't afford to leave if they have a mortgage, because they'd be upside down on the new value if everybody's values just got hit. So I don't think it's practical that that would happen. I can tell you, I was in California recently, and one of the properties that I saw listed was a rental property. It was several units, and it was on a rent control. So the market rate for these rental units would have been about $2,400 per month. One of them was renting for $400 a month and had been the same tenant since like the 1970s. So when you look at that on an investment basis, you would just say, well, I'm just not going to buy that building. And if you're not going to buy that building, that means the seller can't sell and move on, which means there's never going to be any updates done. Because if you think they're going to update a multi-million-dollar building on $400 a month rent, you haven't seen property taxes or power bills lately. That's just not going to happen. And so you end up with these slums, or you end up with buildings where people buy them and say, I'm not going to rent it at all, because I'm afraid that if I do, I can lock in my value now at low rent rates and kill the future resale opportunity. And it's just not a good thing. It reduces housing units. I think we've seen that play out in a number of markets now, where rent control might sound good, but it doesn't work. Like most communist policies, they might sound good to give free stuff to everyone, but it just doesn't work.
No, it sure does not. And that's why I'm worried. And I hope people will take the midterms seriously and start working now so we can secure the midterms. I don't want to see the House and Senate flip to the Democrat side. I don't want to have a lame duck session. I want to get the American first policies going, and then hopefully welcome JD Vance to the presidency. I hope. But I hope people will also pick up your book. You sound amazing. I'm so glad I got to meet you. I actually met Roger Stone because I was part of the Reawaken America tour. So it's pretty cool that he wrote a foreword by you. You can pick this book up on Amazon. The link is also in the description. It's called Dirt Roads to Runways, Defending the American Dream for the Next Generation. Thank you, Keith, so much for being a part of this show, being a part of this conversation. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care, friends. Okay, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I have some more videos to share. We're going to have more discussions, and then we're going to have some fun. So stay tuned to the Amber May Show, and we will be back in just a minute. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about something that I have been using in my own life, and those are called GLP-1s. Now, I didn't take it lightly. I did a lot of research. I looked into it, did a lot of reading. I talked to a lot of people that have been on GLP-1s for a very long time before I decided to try it for myself. And losing weight and improving your health doesn't have to feel impossible. Whether you've tried everything or you're just starting out, sometimes the right support makes all the difference. This episode is brought to you by LifeRX.MD, one of the largest custom GLP-1 and peptide companies in the U.S. And LifeRX is helping thousands of people taking back control of their health with personalized peptides protocols, including GLP-1 starting at just $250 a month. There's no contract, no subscriptions, no hidden fees, and best of all, no insurance or waitlist required. With 24/7 customer support, LifeRx is accessible, affordable, and built for people who are ready to become the healthiest versions of themselves. So whether you're looking to lose weight, optimize performance, or simply feel better in your body, LifeRx makes it easy to get started. So visit the link below to get started with LifeRX and get started with your GLP-1s and get started today. So make sure you click the link below. The link is in the description. So you can get started on your weight loss journey for better health. What I found fascinating is that Fox News was reporting that weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s, are now linked to cancer prevention in women, a major study reveals. So that is very exciting. Like I said, I didn't take this lightly. I worked hard. I looked at all the literature that I could find out there. I talked to a lot of people, different physicians, before I made the switch. And with this company, it's the first company that I found that was the most affordable out there, and they've had amazing customer service, and that is why I'm bringing them to you. So if you're ready to get started, click the link below and get started today with your GLP-1s.
Hey, this is Jeff Dornick, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Let me tell you a quick story that's important to you and your family's health. In 1963, the FDA banned a promising new discovery in the fight against cancer. Laetrile, also known as B17, was so popular among its consumers that some 70,000 plus Americans crossed into Mexico to smuggle it back into the United States, according to Newsweek. Laetrile was under constant attack by big pharma, big media, big government. Sounds familiar? Kind of like Ivermectin. And just like Ivermectin, Laetrile was both a solution and a problem. You see, Laetrile is naturally found in 1,200 plus foods, including apricot seeds. So Big Pharma can't make money off of it, and that's a big problem. In the 70s, Sloan Kettering, an American Cancer Research Institute, found Laetrile was successful at preventing cancer and stopping it from growing. That's according to numerous sources at Sloan Kettering and researchers for the movie Second Opinion. So what does this mean to you? Well, I'm going to give you a source for Laetrile. So to find out more, go to the rncstore.com, and when you're there, use promo code AmberMay at checkout. Hey friends, welcome back to the Amber May Show. Glad you're joining me today. I'm so glad to be with my friends. But if you're looking for a smarter way to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads, get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month. When you sign up before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value, with Rumble Premium, you'll get on ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content just like mine on Tuesday, with no interruptions and just videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. That sounds amazing. You know what doesn't sound amazing is the fact that Mandami is in New York, and here is one lady talking about this whole thing and what she sees and her perception of Mandami being the mayor of New York. Here we go.
You know you better pick up that phone when I got tea. Listen, New York City, you did it. You elected Mom Donnie to be your new mayor. Well, did you know that he was backed by Alex Soros, son of billionaire George Soros? And both of them are millionaires, like father, like son. But anyway, that's just a little tidbit of information. Listen, I am almost excited to watch your mouth drop when you realize that the same hand that feeds you is the same hand that will starve you when they want dominance and control. Kind of like the shutdown of the government when they admitted they used you as leverage. Anyway, listen, Mamdani last night after he won, he said, I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, I said aunties. I was looking for when he said Americans, but I can't find it. But anyway, I want to give you the rules because, you know, you're going to be moving down south after you find out that socialism is going to fail like it has for centuries. So let me give you the rules about down here. Number one, respect. Southerners really like the Second Amendment, okay? Don't come down here rude and disrespectful, because not only do we like the Second Amendment, but we also talk with our hands. And I don't mean sign language. Okay, number two, don't come down here yelling out where you're from like that's gonna scare somebody. You know, I'm from Queens, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Bronx. We don't care nothing about that, baby. You start yelling out where you from, we finna show your ass where you at, all right? Number three, aggressiveness is not necessary here. We really cool, we laid back people, so we take that as disrespect. We Southerners do. And we don't ask questions, all right? When you get all aggressive, we're not going to ask you no questions. We just going to do what we need to do. The only people that ask questions down here are cops and coroners. All right? So understand that. Last but not least, the South is the home and the origin of YNs and rednecks. And don't you think for 1 minute that they won't hesitate to unite like Voltron and get your ass up out of here. Also, honorable mention, people like me, my age and stuff, both sets of those, the YNs and the rednecks, they consider us auntie. So you don't want to disrespect us either, because they don't play about us. All right, those are the quick rules. That's the quick rundown, because once you are out of food, water, and shelter up there, you're going to have to find somewhere to get it. So you can come down here, but just remember them rules, all right? All right, I'll talk to y'all later. I love y'all. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Donald John Quavius Trump. Doing an awesome job. I'll talk to y'all later.
Those are the people I like. Those are my people right there. Yup. I love them rednecks. This was funny. I want to show you this. This was funny. Okay. Whoever does these memes, they're brilliant. Here we go.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want no friggin' part of it. New York, New York. These Hugo Boss shoes are longing to stray and take an Uber to LaGuardia, Ta-ta, New York. I want to wake up in a city that's safe and free, without that slick jive-ass mayor, Comrade Mamdani. It's clear that Gen Z knows no history, just DEI and woke philosophy. Imagine North Korea with a dash of Sharia. That's what you got. New York, New York. New York, New York. I want to wake up in a city that feels like home, and not with defunded police, migrants galore, man-dummy run grocery stores. Thinks he's a genius, AOC with a penis. It's time to stick a fork in it. New York, you're done. Soon the tax base will be gone to Boca Raton, while Jaime Town becomes Commie Town. Should've elected the hack instead of the quack. Rest in peace, New York, Commie Town. New York,
That was
Commie Town.
That was good. That was good. That kind of sums up what Keith Gross was saying. I hope you guys will go buy his book. Again, the link for his book is in the description. He made a lot of sense. But okay, people are leaving, and people are leaving Texas. They want to go to New York. Can you imagine? Well, you know what, Wendy, you're very fortunate. There are people leaving Texas. They want to go to New York. Let's check it out. Let's see what he has to say. Here we go.
Comedian actor Tyler Fisher here, and I just made the decision. I am moving back to New York City. I've been in Texas for a year, and I have to be there for Mamdani. I just do. I know a lot of people will be surprised by this, but like, dude, I'm so sick of living in Texas where I don't even pay state income tax. Think about that. So I have to like find things to do with my money. Like this is my third coffee of the day. I'm going to buy a paddleboard. I'm hiking, new shoes. And it's like, I'm just done with it. I have to give up 52% of my income. I have a car, which is like, it's so toxic cis white male of me. You know what I mean? And they're charging money to take buses here. Charging money. So what do homeless people do if they want to go on there and sleep and piss and shit and stab somebody? They have to go and fundraise to get on a bus? Like, what the fuck? So I'm just gonna get back there and get back to the Gays for Palestine protests.
Even the bikers aren't assholes.
And like, nobody has assaulted me today. I'm sitting here, literally, I got cash hanging out of my pockets. No one's called me a racist, toxic, cis white male. What am I doing here? America's to be abused and live in a tiny studio apartment and welcome illegal migrants into your space. I'm gonna have probably 10 living with me, sharing a bed, because I care. And my dating life here is amazing. Like, women, they like when I take charge. They like when I lead. They're nice. They're feminine. Barf, gag me.
I prefer a woman with a shaved head, 8 cats, who hates men, the patriarchy, but still wants me to pay the bill.
And what if I get attacked right now? What am I supposed to call the racist cops? No. Mom Donnie's gonna have therapists come and talk out the problems. Hey, excuse me, why did you just shoot that guy in the face? Maybe it's a childhood fear of eye contact. Really get to the bottom of the problem, you know? I'm tired of feeling like a man because there is no gender. You know, and I'm in my Audi alone listening to my own music, but how can I deal with that? There's no stranger blasting rap or some homeless guy overdosing on fentanyl, waving his dick in my face. That's just not America. That's not the America I grew up in. Freedom is so overrated.
And in Texas, the rainbows are for kids? What? No, that's for grown men in drag with fake tits and their junk hanging out, reading softcore porn to children. Come on.
I mean, I only saw 2 penises today. One was mine, and one was my...
I won't even tell. Nope, never mind. Won't go there.
Dogs. Nobody's calling me a racist cracker. What a ripoff.
I mean, who can live like this? No honking, no sirens. This is racism.
I've spent 20 years building up my career, my success. Why should I keep that? I should give it to somebody who's...
God, Signpost, Texas is my backup too. I freaking love Texas. So the fact that this guy wants to leave Texas for New York is fine with me. But isn't this hilarious?
Over the border. Him deserves it. Praise Allah and Allah.
That was so perfect. So perfect. Nailed it. I need that on my board. Nailed it. I don't have that on my board, but Democrat rules. So yeah, Wendy Wild, you live in a great state. So we want to keep it great, Wendy. They're coming after your state like they're coming after mine. Holy cow, we want to keep our states great because I love that we have less taxes. That's why a lot of Californians moved to Arizona. And then the price of everything went up here when we had an influx of people because the policies just suck in these blue states. They're so expensive. And we're going to kind of get into that, I think, a little bit later in the episode about how they say, oh, we're going on affordability. How is it affordable when all your blue states are the most expensive? You tax people out of oblivion. No one can afford to live. And you like having the homeless walk the street. No. So Democrats ruled New Jersey for 20 years, shut down power, raised taxes, blocked pipelines, and now they're asking why everything's so expensive. And here's Jesse Waters talking about that. Exactly what I was saying. You know, gosh, what are people really, they can't see with their own eyes? Are they so brainwashed that they can't see the reality? Yes, your Democrat elected representatives are telling you that Democrats are for you and want to lower the price of everything and give you affordable this and affordable that. When you're living in squalor, when you can't afford anything because 50% of your income goes to taxes. I know that's an exaggeration, but in some, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't live in New York. California, I don't know what taxes are like in California. I know it's expensive. I know here in Maricopa County, I got to talk to a legislator. I'm tired of paying. I'm tired of getting my gas gas imported from California because in Maricopa County, our gas is so expensive. Everywhere else in the state, it's more affordable because they get their gas from somewhere else. So I'm going to be talking about legislation. So I don't want California gas anymore. I'm tired of paying more money than everyone else in Maricopa because we bought our gas from California. It's expensive. Everywhere there's blue, it's expensive. There's no affordability. If you want to be affordable, then you got to live in a red state. And don't bring your stupid policies to my red state. I want to keep Arizona, not California, my Arizona. And I bet Florida doesn't want to New York their Florida. Keep Florida red because your blue states suck. It's so expensive to live in those blue states. Jesse, tell us what it's like.
The Democrats are saying stuff's expensive. They've been in charge for a decade in New Jersey. They've run the legislature for 2 decades. They're saying, oh, taxes are too high. Okay, with the 6th highest income tax, 2nd highest property tax, they've been running the state forever. And they shut down power plants. They shut down nukes. They shut down coal. Anytime you want to try to put a pipeline, natural gas through New Jersey, they block it. They spent billions on windmills that don't work. And now they're like, oh, stuff's expensive. Get out of here. This woman, Mickey, Mikey, I don't care what you call her. Call her the white Kamala Harris. They asked her what she wants to do on day one, and she was like, the dumbest woman I've seen of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of dumb women.
They pick dumb women because they're easy to manipulate. She doesn't have a lot going up here. So they can tell her whatever. She'll believe the lie and she'll go propagate it. She's not a bad looking woman. So people are going to believe her because she has the look. She just doesn't have the smart. So she's manipulable. When you're not smart, people can manipulate you. And she's one of them that have been manipulated. Now, yesterday I was talking about the talking points of the Democrat Party, how good they're doing with their talking points. Remember, I played that video 2 times in a row. I'm not going to play it again. You got to go watch my show yesterday. Go watch my show on the day before. Nick Freitas said it perfectly. The Democrat people, the Democrat voting base, they care about people. They care, but they put their efforts into, they've been trained to put their efforts in the wrong places. You and I, we will go out, we will do the work, we'll go help the people in, like, remember North Carolina or wherever the hurricanes were, you know, we will go out of our way and we will go do that stuff. Or we will write a check and we'll go put it to a nonprofit that's going to, or a church that's going to be helping the aid relief, okay, over in wherever hurricane victims. You know, if something goes on with the Democrat base, they care. They care, but they put their efforts in the wrong spot. As Nick Freitas said, they want more government. More government will take care of it. Well, where was government, FEMA, when all of these people were hurricane victims? They only got $700 a month. And even still, Biden's administration purposely left out anyone who was a supporter of Donald Trump. He wasn't giving the help to people who were Donald Trump supporters. So $700 a month, but you want to go send all this money to Ukraine? Give me an effing break, for crying out loud. But the messaging that they use is so good. So you're going to hear these videos about how the Republicans are so bad. And their base is not thinking about it logically. They're thinking about it with emotion because they know emotion persuades people, especially women. That's why they have got the white women, especially the middle-aged white women, by, well, I can't say by the balls because they don't have balls, but by the heartstrings. I don't know. They just have captured this group of people. Why? Because women are emotional thinkers. We think with our emotions. That's why yesterday I was more upset because I was thinking with my emotions versus men who are more logically minded. That's why there's more men that are conservative, because they're more logically minded, right? So they know how to get women. And then what will the women do? Persuade her husband, right? We have our ways, women. You know we have our ways. We will persuade our husbands to go along with us, right? So the women have been captured in this country, and the women in this chat are the smartest women. I'm so proud to know you guys. Somehow, you and I, us women in this chat, we've been able to break that mold. They don't have us. We are using our minds. We have our emotions, but we're also using our critical thinking skills that we've learned along the way. But listen to the mind control. Listen to how they're going to make our side look evil, when all along, if their side would just vote in the 60 vote, we can all have these discussions. We can refund SNAP again. We can pay our military. We can pay our border patrol to keep us safe. Just listen to this. Crafty how they use mind control and tactics.
Republicans are choosing to go after nutrition assistants. Trump is doing this because he is a bad person. He's a lousy president and an even worse human being. He's weaponizing hunger and trying to rip food away from more than 40 million Americans, including 16 million children, for sadistic political leverage. How dare he? How dare he exploit the pain of hungry Americans? How dare he make working folks choose between health care and food? How dare he starve poor children who go to bed hungry? These people are sick in the head. They take food away from poor folks on Friday, and then they go to church on Sunday and proclaim to be good Christians. I'm not sure where in the Bible it says that starving children makes you a good person. I must have missed that part. But my faith tells me something else. It tells me that there's a special place in hell for people who rip food away from hungry families. And if my Republican colleagues continue to use poor kids as political leverage, if they continue to make it even harder for working folks to get by, if they force Americans to choose between health care and food, then cruelty will be their legacy, and they will have no one but themselves to blame for the pain they've inflicted on the American people. Because in the richest country in the history of the world, no one should worry about where their next meal comes from.
Wow, look at that messaging. Donald Trump's evil. Republicans are evil. They want to starve everyone. Again, the messaging. The Democrat Party cares about how much money is in your pocket. Really? Then how come all the Democrat states are the most expensive to live? Tell me that. How come in the Democrat states, and I know our friend Dr. Michael Schwartz always talks about how expensive his electricity is. If you guys really care about how much money is in my pocket, then why is your states the most expensive with electricity, with a standard of living, with taxes? Explain that to me. But they don't explain this in these sound bites. They're going off emotion. They don't want you to think logically, think critically. They just want you to get the sound bite. I'm going to rile up my people so they hate Donald Trump. They hate the Republicans because the Republicans are starving everyone. When all we have to do is get the 60 votes from the senators, the very ones saying all this garbage. Here we go.
All the victories that we had, whether it's in Virginia, New Jersey, or New York, is sending a message that the Democratic Party cares about affordability. We got more independents. They broke from Donald Trump, the ones that voted for him in 2024, and they are turning to the Democrats saying, we like your message, we like your solutions. And there are different solutions across the platform, whether it's in New York or in New Jersey or in Atlanta, where we won again. We won a lot of mayor's races last night. We won a lot of down ballot races. I just think that the American people are tired of Donald Trump's antics. They are tired of not having solutions. And they showed up last night overwhelmingly all over the country to rebuke his failed economic policies. And I think that is the most important message to take away. And we may not have one single leader that is leading our party right now, but we do have a message of fighting back on affordability and making this country more affordable. And we have so many great leaders all over the country in their own communities.
I wish I had that video. I didn't even think about getting that video about how they said that they were going to use people's suffering as leverage. Let me see if I can find it. Use people's suffering as leverage. One lady was an idiot and said it on TV. Didn't you see this? Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see. Let me see if this is it. Hold on, let me see. Here we go. This is one version of that. This is one reason why they don't want to open the government. They're going to use this, your hardship, blame it on the Republicans. Accuse your opponent of what you were doing and make them defend it.
If you are so concerned about SNAP funds running out, why not ask Democrats in the Senate to vote to open up the government?
And you reopen the government and we lose our leverage.
Of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
This is also, Congresswoman, this is also a choice by Senate Democrats to not vote to open the government. Yes, it is.
SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. You voted no 13 times.
Darn right. Definitely not Karen. Live production with Amber May. You can learn about that at my course, Podcast Like a Pro. Podcast like a pro. So Democrats are trying to sway public perception by celebrating their wins. And by the way, definitely not Karen. Glad to see you. Glad to see everybody. The professors in the house, animals in the house, Wendy Wild, TV Green, got Signpost, Casa Rumbles in the house. Here we go. Let's listen to what she has to say.
Democrats are celebrating their wins, but they're not taking into account that they had 2 Democrats running against each other in New York City, and the crazier one won. They had 2 Democrats running against each other in Minneapolis, and the crazy Somali guy almost won. They elected the Attorney General of Virginia, Jay Jones, after text messages were released that he said he wanted to kill his political opponent and then have their kids watch. He won. They elected a woman who spends more time advocating for trans rights than doing anything for women. The Independent is sitting here going, whoa, they're going even farther left. They're getting crazier. Since the Democrats have never had an original thought, they are going to try to take this as an opportunity to sway public perception and make it this huge win when it was all in Democratic strongholds to begin with. And they should have never even been worried as to whether or not they were going to win these elections. The fact they were says something. But it's not a win. They went farther left. They got crazier. They elected the extreme candidates. They're siding with Islamic jihadists. They're turning our cities into the third world because these cities are importing the third world, and they're celebrating it. They're celebrating the murder of political opponents by electing people who believe in it. But okay, Democrats, you celebrate your wins. There's no such thing as the Democratic Party anymore. It's the party of communism, of Islamic communism.
Yeah. I don't know what the gays for Palestine are going to do when Islam comes full force in the United States. They will kill them. Plain and simple. So if anyone wants to know who is impacted by the ongoing government shutdown, I want you to see something. Today, the Senate voted for the 14th time. I don't know if this is 2 days ago. So we know it's happened since then to end the shutdown, but 14 times, let's just say 14 times, Senator Kelly and Gallego voted no. My 2 senators that are talking their mouth on X, blaming the Republicans, pulling at your heartstrings, saying, oh my God, those evil Republicans are starving people. Those evil Republicans aren't giving health care to our constituents. Well, it's your fault. We need the 60 votes. You have 2 votes right there, Kelly and Gallego, and you're welcome to come on over, vote yes, and then we'll have the discussion. People get their SNAP benefits back. And I'm sure you guys will somehow get your subsidies because of the Obamacare that you guys put together. And you guys put sunset clauses on those discounts. They're discounts. That's all they are. And you and I, as taxpayers, were funding those discounts to make the perception that the insurance premium are cheaper when it really isn't. You guys put the sunset clause on it. You guys passed the Obamacare. Nancy Pelosi said, we got to pass this thing just to see what's in it. And now you guys want to blame us on this? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Senators voting in the negative. Cantwell, Coons, Kane, Kelly, Mr. Gallego, no.
Don't
Senators-
worry, Gallego is making sure he got paid because he has bills to pay. And he went to Puerto Rico to raise campaign funds. Don't forget that. But then he wants to tell us that we're the bad ones because we're not funding all this stuff. Listen, this is what Ruben Gallego posts on X. Watch this. He just voted no. You saw it. He voted no when he could have voted yes. Got the 60 majority to pass the clean CR, which you guys know I want the budget. I don't want this freaking CR for crying out loud. You guys know I want the budget. But if this is the way they're going to open the government, okay, fine, whatever. I'm sick of the CR, but I don't know when they'll ever have a budget again. I really don't know. But Ruben Gallego posts this on X. Listen to Arizona's story. Her premiums are jumping through the roof. And Congressman Eli Crane and Representative Kosamani are still on vacation. These are House members. They did their part. They passed a clean CR out of the House. Does Ruben Gallego not know how government fund works? He's been in government for so long. Does he need to have a Saturday night special to go on and see, oh, I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. And I'm standing here on Capitol. Does he need to go back to Schoolhouse Rock? Because one would assume, being in government for as long as he has, realized how the government works. The House did what they needed to do. It goes on to the Senate. And you, Ruben Gallego, on TV were shown that you voted no on the Clean CR, that you voted yes on under the Biden administration. But because the fascist Nazi dictator Donald Trump is in office, you have to put a big stick up everyone's butt. And then you want to turn around and blame the Republicans for not giving health care to the people that you probably voted on for the Obamacare when you were in the House, probably with Nancy Pelosi. And you were the one who could have wrote legislation to extend the credits, but you chose not to, even though you knew there was going to be a sunset clause. Accuse your opponent of what you were doing and make them defend it. So this is the junk that he's spreading on social media, and his people that vote for him believe him as a trusted source and information. He pulls at the heartstrings, especially targeting the females. Okay. Again, females are more emotional. Men are more logical, pulling at the heartstrings of females. We realize how many females voted for Mondami because they know we're a large voting base. So we got to target the women. Thank God in this chat. I am so grateful for all the women in this chat that can look and use critical thinking and kind of like get out of the emotional space and actually think about the consequences. Praise God for you guys.
And neither you or your husband can get insurance through your jobs?
No, because he's a contract.
So they're using the media to manipulate the story, right? Oh, the heartstrings start, the evil Republicans using TV, using mainstream media. Here we go.
And technically, so am I.
So for the last few years, Michelle Unger, her husband, and their 3 dependents have used healthcare.gov to get covered. But when open enrollment came November 1st.
I mean, I was sitting out in my office and I feel like my chest caved in. I was just like, oh my God, this is insane.
Her family's monthly premium up $2,000 overnight.
$41.70.
So $41.70 a month, what would that be for you for a whole year? So $50,000 a year.
Ultimately, we will suck it up. We will get the plan that best suits our needs, and we will subsidize it out of our savings account until we can sell the house.
And neither you or your husband can get insurance.
Okay, so was Obamacare really affordable after all? That's a big fat no. And the only reason why the premiums were what they were was because you and I were paying the upfront costs of that with our tax paying money. They did a great job in the Democrats during the Obama time to make the perception that the healthcare was ever affordable. You take away the tax credits that you and I have been subsidizing since Obama's turn, when Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass the bill to see what's in it. After they've been raking us through the coal and stealing all of our money and paying for this unaffordable health care, now people are seeing the true cost. Now, here is a gentleman who's going to tell you the real reason why we're still in a government shutdown. And then we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I don't know. I'm in a funky mood today. We're going to hopefully have a little bit of fun. I have some fun things to share with you when we come back, but there we go. Here we go.
Obama made you buy health insurance, and Biden made you pay less, but only temporarily. And now both parties are letting your premium skyrocket in 2025. And it's not by accident, it's a bribe. Biden's discounts expire in 2025, and your bill goes up by 200 to 300%. Right now, if your premium is $600 a month, you pay $400 a month. And the government sends $200 straight to the insurance companies. That's $24 billion a year in free money to big insurance. But in 2025, those discounts disappear, and your bill goes back to $600 or higher. Why? Because Democrats let it happen. They know, and they don't care. They expanded these subsidies in 2021 temporarily, not to help you, to buy votes in 2022 and 2024. Now the election is over and your bill goes up. But their donors, they're still getting paid. Here's the real thing that should piss you off. This isn't about health care. It's a cash pipeline to insurance companies. They lobby for subsidies. They donate to keep them coming, and when the subsidies expire, they blame the other side while raking in billions. Trump didn't create this. Obama did, and Biden extended it, but only until after the election. And now they're gridlocked because the real election is over. The real campaign, insurance companies versus you. They win and you lose. They're not fighting for you. The Democrats are fighting for their next campaign donation check from United Healthcare, Pfizer, and Blue Cross. They know what's coming. They know your premiums are about to explode if they haven't already, and they know that you'll be begging for relief this year. And they know that you'll blame the other party while they cash their checks. They shut the government down over $6 billion for Ukraine, but $24 billion a year for insurance companies? Not a peep, because that money isn't for you, it's for them. You're the hostage, and they're the kidnappers. When your bill doubles in 2025, remember they knew, they let it happen, and they'll do it again because you keep falling for it. Democrats or Republicans, neither side work for you. So stop voting for either side and arguing amongst yourselves like they do. Share this if you're sick of it.
Hey guys, I've been working in the financial sector for a little while, and I used to work for a financial planner as a licensed life insurance agent. If you're serious about protecting your wealth, then I believe owning gold and silver and having that in your portfolio is key. It's time to stop trusting the same people who built the mess, and that's why I trust my gold guy. That's Ira Bergschatzky. He's not a middleman, he's the owner, and he's America first. And he's the real deal when it comes to physical gold and silver. Ira deals only in high-quality bullion, no overpriced coins, no high-pressure tactics, and no gimmicks. With one of the lowest minimums in the business and some of the most competitive rates anywhere, you'll get the real value without the globalist nonsense. And so if you're ready to make the switch and protect your wealth with owning some gold and silver, I highly recommend having some in your portfolio. I'm not a big proponent of turning your IRA into a gold IRA, but I definitely believe everyone should have some gold and silver in their portfolio. So if you're ready to do that, go to mygoldguide.com/Amber. That's mygoldguide.com/Amber and get some precious metal in your portfolio today.
I'm Abe Hamadeh, and you're watching The Amber May Show.
Hey, so when you are a guest at the Amber May's house, you get luxury. And how you get luxury is I have this sleeping couch, this sleeper sofa, and you're telling me that's not luxury. It is when you put a MyPillow mattress topper on it. All my guests that have come over and stayed at my house have really enjoyed this sleeper sofa, which says a lot because they're getting to sleep on the MyPillow pillows, and you get the MyPillow mattress topper, and then it doesn't stop there with the luxury, because when you shower at the Amber May Show's house, you get to have a MyPillow towel. I don't have the kids using it. I just let the adults have the luxury. So the adults get to use the MyPillows, and they're phenomenal. And right now, there's a massive sale going on with the MyPillow towels. So you should really put luxury into your home and live it every day like Amber May does every day. So I have a MyPillow mattress topper on my bed. I use the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow towels, the MyPillow slippers. I live luxury, and I don't have to pay the luxury price because MyPillow has promo code. So use my name, Amber, and save up to 66% off, and you can live luxurious as well. And now we return to the show already in progress. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I'm excited that you joined me. I always look forward to seeing who's going to be in the chat every day, and then you guys never disappoint. And I thank you guys for supporting this program. Remember, Tuesday's premium day, so don't forget to be a subscriber right here below this video. You can subscribe to Rumble for $10 a month and then have access to everybody's premium content ad-free. But if that's too much, right here in the Rumble chat, you can go ahead and subscribe for $5 a month and have access to all my premium content, because Tuesdays are premium day, and I would love for you to be a part of that. Now, Byron Donald is saying the truth about what's really going on. It's not the Republicans. What is going on? And he's going to share the truth about the shutdown. Here we go.
That the fault is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, and here's why. They had an opportunity to vote to keep the government open, to pay SNAP benefits. They have voted no, not once, not twice, but now 14 times. We actually put on the floor of the Senate to pay our troops, to pay air traffic control, to pay border agents, ICE agents, etc. They voted no. And why are they voting no? Because Chuck Schumer has this assumption that the Democrats won the presidential election and that they control both chambers of Congress. That is a fallacy. And so what they're arguing for is that we should ignore the results of last year's election just to do what Chuck Schumer says. In short, that Republicans should negotiate against themselves.
But the fallacy, though, Congressman, you guys are in control. You have the House, you've got the Senate, and you have the White House. Don't you have more than enough power?
No, we don't. And the reason why is because of the Senate filibuster. Now, I'm on the record. I think the Senate filibuster is actually destructive of real compromise.
You want to get rid of it?
I believe we should get rid of it because what it actually stops Republicans and Democrats in the Senate from doing is finding solutions where both parties could work together in order to get majority votes. What happens now is you have the Democrats who were hiding behind the filibuster saying that they're not getting their way. They've argued for 4 different things. At one point, they were arguing for funding for NPR. Then they were arguing to undo some DOGE cuts. Then they started arguing over Obamacare premiums. Premiums, by the way, the Democrats put in place when they were in charge of the trifecta. They did not make them permanent. They made them sunset this year on purpose because they were COVID-era subsidies. The Democrats don't want to talk about the true cost of health care. They want to hide the true cost of health care using government subsidies. And now they want to hide behind SNAP.
Well,
If the Democrats want to fund it, hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
If the Democrats want to fund SNAP, this is done very simply. Go to the Senate floor, vote for the clean CR, SNAP will be funded, and that's what's going on. So for Betty, I hear you, but the Democrats have to do their job as well. Donald Trump has done his. He's standing to keep the government open. Chuck Schumer says no. That's
Wow. And that aired on CNN. Can you believe that? Well, let's talk about communism for a minute, Byron. Share with us about communism. Has it worked or failed? Let us know.
been communist and yes, communist policies. That's what Zoran Mamdani is talking about.
He's not a communist.
It never works.
Socialist. He says he's Democrat.
I can't tell what the difference is.
See, she's an idiot. Oh, he's not a communist. He's a social democrat. What did she say? A social democrat? Idiot. What else is it? You listen to what he says. It lines with Marxism. You are an idiot and you're on TV and people believe you because you're on TV. So clearly you must know because you're on TV. What an idiot. What an idiot.
Never
Democratic
works.
Socialist. He says he's Democratic
I can't tell what the difference is.
Well, he can describe
Explain what the difference is.
He can describe the differences for you. The socialism
But
is
you
not
can't.
the same.
You can't. So what's the difference? If you think it's the same, how come, lady, you can't tell us the difference? If you think it's not the same as communism, what's the difference? And you can't say. So clearly you don't even know. So why are you even on TV? Oh, I know, that's to persuade the hearts and minds of people, especially women, to convince them to turn their elect communism into office, to run down the state so that the globalists can take over and have a one world government. That's what your role is.
Basis of communism in this country. You know that quite
The
well.
man
You
wants
have an
the man
economic
wants to
background.
create government-run grocery stores. He wants free transportation, both of which are impossible to do because
You know that communism is a trigger word to try to undermine all of his policies. He's
No.
not he says he
I
doesn't.
don't need to undermine.
She said trigger word. It's not a trigger word. Everything out of his mouth comes from Marxism.
His policies, his policies undermine himself because they've never worked. Here's all I want him to do. Tell me where they've ever worked. They've never worked. He knows that. I knows that. But what he's trying to do is promise everybody something that they can't have. And the truth is there is no free lunch, just like there's no free bus. Because you know what happens when you have a free bus? There's nobody there to fix it or to drive it. He knows that. I know that. You know that. America does know it. And it's
He doesn't
unfortunate
know
that
it.
the city of New York, my former home city, is probably going to have to go through this.
Brian, you were too kind to her. She doesn't know that. She is a useful idiot to propagate propaganda to change the hearts and minds to make Donald Trump and all of us look like communist Nazi dictators when all we want is freedom. We want little government that we don't even know exists, so we have the freedom to live our life. And did you know Tom McDonald just dropped some new music? You guys know how I like him. Here we go.
All my haters got pronouns, green hair, BLM t-shirts, fully vaccinated in a mask, scared to breathe air. All my haters woke, all my haters woke, all my haters woke. woke. All my haters woke. All my haters like to burn flags, protest, wear drag, no offense. All my haters liberals and they ain't making no sense. All my haters woke. All my haters woke.
Oh yeah.
All my haters woke. All my haters. All my haters. All my haters whack. They afraid of facts. They don't think you worth the air you breathe unless you gay or black. All my haters hang out with Antifa waving rainbow flags. All the dudes who hate me think they pregnant, they just gay and fat. They've been watching CNN and Disney on their televisions. Never seen a gym but get Ozempic shots injected in them. Blaming us for homophobia and anti-Semitism. Think that if you straight and white and male you should be sent to prison. All my haters left the center, come in 50 different genders. Members of the woke mob, registered as sex offenders. All my haters woke as hell, probably means they broke as well. I don't need to know them, I can tell. All my haters got pronouns, green hair, BLM t-shirts. Fully vaccinated in a mask, scared to breathe air. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters. All my haters like to burn flags, protest, wear drag, no offense. All my haters liberals and they ain't making no sense. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters, all my haters, all my haters lame, cancel everything. They think men are toxic but they can't define a woman, ayy. All my haters hate police cause they don't want the city safe. They so triggered all the time but none of them know how to aim. They think that they above the law, they loot a store, don't get arrested. Killing babies, they don't use protection, they just getting pregnant. Only time they win is when they cheat, you know they rigged elections. Claiming we're privileged so they can say they living in oppression. All my haters left the center, come in 50 different genders. Members of the woke mob, registered as sex offenders. All my haters woke as hell, probably means they broke as well. I don't need to know them, I can tell. All my haters got pronouns, green hair, BLM t-shirts. Fully vaccinated in a mask, scared to breathe air. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters. All my haters like to burn flags, protest, wear drag, no offense. All my haters liberals and they ain't making no sense. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters, all my haters, all my haters threaten me, they bluffing. Ain't no guts inside their stomachs, they identify as blueberry muffins. They wanted cops to be defunded, bumping Macklemore, they love them. Swear to God, the one thing they got in common is all my haters got pronouns, green hair, BLM t-shirts. Fully vaccinated in a mask, scared to breathe air. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters. All my haters like to burn flags, protest, wear drag, no offense. All my haters liberals and they ain't making no sense. All my haters woke, all my haters woke. All my haters woke, all my haters, all my haters, all my.
His new album, I think, drops Friday, tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to change the subject for a minute. I'm going to get more on the religious side. I need the angel sound. Oh, I need one of those on the soundboard. I need a lot of sounds on the soundboard. That would make the production a lot better. Anyways, I just heard, Joe Rogan was playing this clip on his show, and I never thought of the mustard seed quite like this lady describes. It's pretty powerful because even though we have the globalists who want to take down this country that was given to us by the Lord, because he wanted us to have a free nation where we can worship him freely. And we shouldn't have on paper beat England by any stretch of the imagination with a militia. But God gave us this land so we can worship him freely. And so I still put my trust in God, even though it looks really bad when you have communists running certain sectors of government in the United States. So listen to her perspective. Maybe you won't agree with it. That's okay. You don't have to agree with it. But I thought it was a very interesting perspective on the mustard seed. Here we go.
Stay with me here, okay? Matthew 17:20 says, he said to them, because of your little faith, for truly I say to you, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. So I have heard this particular scripture preached more times than I can count in the past 6 years. And I love the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the books that I read on a regular basis. I love when Jesus was here. I love to hear what he has to say. Every time I have heard this preached by a pastor, I have heard it preached, faith the size of a mustard seed. Anyone else? Anyone else heard faith the size of a mustard seed? All you need is a little faith. That's all you need. When the disciples asked Jesus, why couldn't we cast out the demons and you could? And he said, because of your little faith. So I take this all the way back to the Greek because I'm like, Where did they get size? And the Greek word in that scripture is hos, H-O-S, and it means like or as, not size. In fact, the only version that I could find that says anything about size is in the New Living Translation. So then I started doing research on what makes a mustard seed so special. The mustard seed is tiny and mighty, so when planted, it can grow into this massive tree and bush that allows birds to perch in it. And then, when it grows, the roots grow so deep and spread so wide that it overtakes the things around it. It's almost impossible to get all the roots out. It will thrive in the toughest situation. So, when Jesus spoke to the disciples, and he said to them, because of your little faith. It was the fault of their little faith. And then he says to them, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you could tell this mountain to move and it would move. So what if all these years that I've been reading the Bible, Jesus has always been talking about having the type of faith that when planted sprouts massively and is rooted so deep in God that it spreads to everyone around it and continues to thrive no matter how hard the situations are. What if that's the kind of faith that can move a mountain? What if that was what he meant all along? How many other scriptures in the Bible am I reading incorrectly because I've listened to a pastor preach it one specific way, and when I'm reading the Bible, I'm reading it without intention. And I read it and I don't process what I'm reading because I've read it over hundreds of times, so I just read it with zero intention. I'm gonna need a lot more time to read my Bible.
That was fascinating and interesting perspective on that. So, does anybody in the chat live in bear country? Check this out. I mean, I don't live in bear country. You guys know that. I don't live in bear country, but if I did, check this out. Look at what happened to this bear. You know, bears just... You see that bear? Look at it. It just jumped. Look how high it jumped. Wow. Now the bear's pissed. Is that going to survive? I don't know. It doesn't tell us in the video if that thing survived. But boy, that ferocious bear got scared. Huh. Now here's another video about trust. This is why you cannot trust. We'll find out who you cannot trust. Here we go.
Damn, bro. Nobody could trust anybody. And that's the scary part to me sometimes. The Bible said, do not put your trust in men. It's pretty specific. Why? Because everybody can be compromised except you. Yeah. If you don't believe in God, then it's pretty messed up because now you only got you to believe in. But if you got you and God, you can believe in both of those. You can have peace then. Damn, bro.
Interesting perspective on that, right? Interesting. Now, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was one of my favorite shows growing up. And honestly, I am Carlton. I will dance at any point in time. I love Carlton's character because I feel like I'm a lot like him. And if I was there on set, I would have been doing the same thing as Carlton. Yep. All right. I would be doing that. I don't care who's watching. I freaking love dancing, and I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed. I will dance. I will be goofy. I'll be silly. I love to dance. This was really funny. So at a baseball game, you know, those big Videotron things, they were putting characters of like cartoons and movies, and then they found people that look like the cartoons and movies in the crowd. This is so funny. You got to check this out. Hold on really quick. Here we go. Check it out. Hilarious. It's not a soul out there. No one to hear my praise. Yep. Nailed it. Give me a man at the midnight one. Somebody help me chase the shadows away. Give me a man at the midnight. Take me through the darkness to the break of the day. That was funny. That was funny. Okay, and this, like, I would do this. I would do this exactly. Like I said, I'm not afraid. Anytime, anywhere, I will dance. Watch. Watch Grandpa. Oh, yeah. He has moves. Maybe he could teach me. Professor, do you think we should add him to our curriculum in the course? Because I could totally use moves like that. Okay. This guy, I mean, it's pretty amazing. He has a lot of core strength that he's able to do this kind of dance, but by doing it in a push-up form, I admire this. Check it out.
Out in the country, past the city limit sign.
And will this? Ooh, no.
Out in the country, past the city limit sign. Well, there's a honky tonk, there's a county line. The joint starts jumping every night when the sun goes down. They got whiskey, women, music and smoke. It's where all the cowboy folk go to Third Street Boogie.
Pretty good. I mean, that's really good. All that upper body strength that he can dance while doing a push-up. Okay, this was cute. This was cute. And it's like, rightfully so. I can't believe this dog would pick on a little kitten. It was a kitten. Check this out. How rude of this dog. How rude. It's a kitten. Mama's going to tell you what's up. Okay. You win, Mom. You win. Darn right. Don't pick on my kitten. I'll tell you what's up. I love Cooper Allen. Do you guys like his voice? I love Cooper Allen. Here he goes. I have to share a little Cooper Allen with you. That's a great voice.
Well, damn Hollywood, talking like they know shit. Ain't y'all the ones that gave us Nickelodeon and Diddy? Man, I think that's kind of shitty. Or maybe it's just Nashville where we don't touch kitties. Well, looking at it, guess it's kind of scary. Getting big wig, corner officers wary of a bunch of hicks with the lift kits and the dip spit. Oh shit, go and cancel that real quick, cancel it all. But you gon' see there's a couple other folks who think like me. Still believe country music needs a real six string and that George Strait is the only king. Well, I'm getting mad and I wanna scream. Everybody wants to blame rednecks like me. Find a way to make it off phones, you see, when kids have issues from the phone screens. Well, tell me how the hell this works. The world's a shit show everywhere you turn, and we just keep turning to some crooks in DC that don't give a damn about you and me.
I love him. Cooper Allen is so talented, and that's what I've been saying all along. I just wish the other side of the voting base would realize the government doesn't care about them, and they can say it. They said it, that they're using their pain and suffering to strong arm the Republicans, and they don't care. It doesn't matter to them because at the end of the day, all that really matters is the paycheck. But who's going to pay them and give them funds in their paycheck, making them rich because they don't really need that money. They don't really need their government paycheck because they're all freaking wealthy. We have the best Congress money can buy. Oh, thank you guys for being here. Animal, God Signpost, Dane Boy, thank you for being here. Craig Muttley, the professor. Craig Muttley, aka Professor, thank you for being here. TV Green, it was so nice to see you. Casa Rumble, thank you for being here. Oh, I know I didn't get to everybody today, but USA Abby Girl was in here earlier today. Definitely not Karen. It's always good to see you guys show up. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. We're going to head over to the Nun Report. So make sure you give Nun Report a like and a follow. And don't forget to give Handy News a like and a follow. He rated us earlier today. Go give Handy News a like and a follow. I'm going to be on the Handy News show tonight. So come check that out. I don't know what time. Wendy, do you have a time? Oh, good. You're still here, USA Abby Girl. I don't know the time. God Signpost, do you know what time he's on tonight? Anybody? Bueller? Okay, we don't know what time Handy News is coming on tonight, but just keep on the lookout on Rumble and you can find it because me, Wendy, and Handy, and maybe God Signpost will be on there tonight. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Rumble. Join us. I have a great guest. We're going to be talking about small business and how small business could use more help because, you know, the way things are going, they want to crush small business because if they could have all of the power condensed in a small group of hands, then it's easy for the one world order to come forth. So join me tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Rumble. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining us today on the Amber May Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if there's someone that came to mind, please share this episode with them. Please follow us on Telegram at The Amber May Show, True Social Amber May, Frank Socially Amber May, or Clout Hub. I can't wait to see you next time on the Amber May Show.